Good evening, everybody. After my first video and some positive feedback from my dad, I decided to change my name from Seth Reed, which is probably 100 of on YouTube, to something a little more unique and memorable. So if you haven't already noticed, I went with Wisco Mullet. So today, for Mitch Gerke, he requested that I do salt pickles or fermented pickles. Just like sauerkraut, except cucumbers, right? Easy. So again, for those of you who haven't seen my first video, we're going to start out with all the tools we're going to need and the ingredients. So of course you're going to need a wide mouth mason jar, a glass fermentation weight, your airlock or burper, a measuring cup for water, a scale for your ingredients, and for the ingredients we're going to use mini cucumbers, kosher salt, canning salt, or any salt that doesn't have iodine or anti-caking agents in it, because that will mess with the fermentation. Dill seed and cayenne pepper. You don't have to put the dill seed and the cayenne pepper in it. You can pretty much use whatever ingredients you want. It's up to you. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is to measure our water and our salt and our dill seed and our cayenne pepper. The reason we're going to mix all this together first is because we want the dill seed and the cayenne pepper to absorb the water, so it's not floating on top when we put it in our jar. Little floaty bits on top are bad. They cause mold, so we don't want that. So that's the first thing I do. I mix it up and then I let it set for 5 or 10 minutes, stir it, then we're good. So I went ahead and measured out 3.5 cups of water. And the reason I did 3.5 cups of water is because I want my headspace on this quart jar to be right around the 3-cup mark. So I know once I put the cucumbers in here, it's going to take up a lot of space. So 3.5 cups of water will be plenty enough to fill it up above the top of the cucumbers and leave me about a 1/2 inch of headspace with the brine and my fermentation weight on top. Now I measured it out and I've got 840 grams of water here in 3.5 cups. Now the salt brine solution that we're looking for with fermented pickles is anywhere from 3.5% to 5% salt. 3.5 is going to ferment faster and give you a softer pickle. 5% is going to ferment slower and give you a more crisp pickle, but obviously the 5% is going to be more salty than a 3.5% also. So I personally use 3.5%. Mine turn out good and crisp. They're not too salty, but of course, do it to your taste. So for 840 grams of water, that turns out to be 29.4 grams of salt. Now for the seasonings, I'm actually going to use a measuring spoon. So I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of dill and 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and then give it a good mix. I didn't say this before, but I use warm water out of the tap. It just makes everything easier to mix, and it blends in better. Now the next thing you want to do is to rinse your cucumbers off, which I've already done. Sometimes when they come out of the bag, they're a little slimy. I don't want to eat that. Again though, just rinse them off. You want that natural bacteria that's on the skin of these cucumbers in this brine solution to produce the lactic acid. I don't know how all that works, but that's what it does. Next thing you do is to cut the blossom end off to keep them crisp. I don't know why. That's what the internet says, and it seems to work. Now, I shoot to have them come up to the 3-cup mark on my mason jar. And that's perfect. So we just want to go ahead and do the same with the rest of them. Oh, these you can tell which one's the blossom end because the other end has a stem, which I'm going to leave on there. It doesn't hurt anything. But when the stem's not on there, the blossom end is always the smaller of the two ends, and it's not 100%, but it's a little bit more yellowish on the blossom end. And now they go in the jar. And it'll just depend on the size of the cucumbers that you wind up getting from the store, however many you can fit in there. But I usually get about 5. And today I got all 5 of them, which is it's a pound of mini cucumbers that goes in there. Now, what do you do with the other end, which actually winds up being pretty big? I like doing salt and vinegar cucumbers like my mom showed me how to do when I was a kid. You take apple cider vinegar, slice these into little thin strips, take your apple cider vinegar, put it in there with a little bit of salt. It's like an instant pickle. It takes about 10 minutes and then you eat them. They're good. Now the next thing we're going to do is just pour the brine over the pickles. Or the cucumbers. They're not pickles yet, so. Give it about a 1/2 inch of headspace, or about an inch of headspace now, which is about a 1/2 inch over top of your cucumbers. And then drop your fermentation weight in there, and that's gonna make, so that's almost to the top, so I'm gonna go dump a little bit of this off. Again, clean the top of your jar so that you get a good seal, and then try to pick out with a spoon any of those little bits and pieces, because they might mold on you. Set your airlock to the day. Today is the 30th. I've already set it. Put your lid on. I like to let mine sit for 4 days. That's what I like. All right, now these aren't going to be tangy like your typical pickle, okay? They're not bad. It took me a little while to get used to the flavor of fermented pickles. And now when I go back to eating regular pickles, it's really sour to me, and it's kind of overwhelming when I eat a real pickle. So you'll get used to it. I love them. They're really good for you too. One thing I never talked about with sauerkraut that I like to talk about now is this creates a lot of beneficial bacteria for your gut. This lactic acid fermentation. Thanks for watching, you guys. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, you'd like to see me ferment anything, just leave me a comment and I'll see what I can do. Thank you. Bye now.